Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are actually talking about Microsoft because they just won a massive government contract, although how they won it may actually put this contract in jeopardy, and this is what's going on. Now, for the record, I am not blaming Microsoft for any of this, but you've got to understand the circumstances here. We may see one of the largest court battles over a data hosting contract the world has ever seen, and this is what's going on. Now, Microsoft just beat out Amazon, or AWS, Amazon Web Services, for a Defense Department cloud contract that is worth about $10 billion over 10 years. This is a major victory for Microsoft in that while Microsoft has a rather large cloud presence with Azure, AWS, Amazon is massive. It's absolutely huge. This was a total victory for Microsoft here. But Amazon may actually have a way of taking this away from Microsoft, and here's what's going on, and this is courtesy of CNBC, and I think this is absolutely fascinating. Basically, the contract in question is the Joint Enterprise Defense Initiative, or JEDI, and basically, when this began, early in the bidding, around 2018 or so, Amazon was seen as the favorite, and I believe the bidding was longer than that, but around 2018, per my notes and research, Amazon was definitely the front runner for this, given just how massive Amazon is. Now, here's where it gets interesting. According to an upcoming book called Holding the Line Inside Trump's Pentagon with Secretary Mattis, which was actually written by Guy Snodgrass, who served as General Mattis's speechwriter, in the summer of 2018, President Trump called then Secretary of Defense Mattis and directed him to quote-unquote screw Amazon out of a chance to bid on the JEDI contract. Now, Snodgrass wrote, and this is courtesy of CNBC, who has seen a copy of the book before it was released, and I quote, relaying the story to us during small group, Mattis said, "We're not going to do that. This will be done by the book, both legally and ethically." Now, fast forward to July of 2019, President Trump said, and this is according to CNBC, that he was looking into the contract after some of the other companies protested the bidding process. Then Secretary of Defense Mattis basically had left the position, so he's the former secretary, he left in 2018, in December of 2018, and the acting Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, came on board around this time in July, although Richard Spencer did serve as the acting Secretary of Defense for 8 days in the middle of July. And so, by virtue of that, the next Secretary of Defense obviously got involved, and here we are. Microsoft won the contract, which was just announced in the last few days or so. Now, Amazon, and this is where it gets interesting as well, has a historically very close relationship with the U.S. government and has won multiple contracts from the U.S. government before, including one to do cloud hosting for the CIA and other intelligence agencies, et cetera, et cetera. Jeff Bezos also tried to secure a seat on a board of directors, a board of advisors within the Defense Department, and that actually fell through because a whistleblower came forward and basically said this wasn't done by the book because Bezos hadn't actually gone through the clearances needed to be on that board. And so I find this to be a very interesting process here, but I think what we are seeing is that by virtue of President Trump's directive, whether it was followed or not, Amazon may have some legal recourse here to go after Microsoft in court to see if they can actually reverse that decision and put that out to, let's say, I guess what Amazon would perceive as a more impartial bidding process. I'm not blaming Microsoft for anything here. Purely this is government politics, but I find this very interesting because what the Secretary of Defense did or did not do, I think is going to come heavily into play. Whether it was Mattis, back in 2018, who actually was the one that was going to be swearing Jeff Bezos in to this board of advisors, per my notes here, not to mention the current acting Secretary of Defense and incumbent Esper. So we're going to see what happens here. Will Microsoft, will this stand up in court? Will Microsoft continue to be awarded this contract? Many legal analysts, from what I've read as I was doing my research, say Yes, Microsoft is going to do that. Quite frankly, I'm a fan of Microsoft in this sense. So congratulations to Microsoft. But we'll see what happens here, and I'd be curious to know your thoughts. Does Amazon have legs to stand on? Do they have ground here to actually have some recourse legally to try to win this $10 billion contract from Microsoft and put it back to Amazon? Not really put it back, but they were the front runners, so it was pretty much a foregone conclusion until the announcement that Amazon was going to get this. So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this, and let me know. And that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.